Vanakkam everyone. I am D. Vijayanand, Assistant Professor, Department of E&I, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. Today we are going to discuss about the non-renewable energy resources. So first we have to know what is non-renewable and renewable means. Energy resources can be divided into two groups. One is renewable, another one is non-renewable energy. The renewable energy resources can be replaced or regenerated and which will not run out. At least it will not run out for a very long time. The examples for renewable energy resources are wind and solar. The non-renewable energy resources will be run out shortly. Once it is used, they cannot be used again. The examples for non-renewable energy resources are coal and oil. Then, what are the fossil fuels? In the industries, need lot of energy at a moment. So, they rely on fossil fuels. The main sources of the energies are fossil fuels. The coal, oil and natural gas are the fossil fuels. Now you may know that the non-renewable energy resources are coal, oil and natural gases. They are carbon-based materials that formed over millions of the years from the remains of ancient plants and animals. The fossil fuels are useful because they contain the stored chemical energy which can be converted into heat energy when the fuels are burnt. How do the fossil fuels produce the electricity? The power stations that are fueled by coal and oil operate on the same basic principle. The fuel is burnt and the heat is used to boil the water. This creates high pressure superheated steam which is then used to turn a turbine. This turbine turns the generator and the electricity is generated. The cooling towers cool the steam which condenses as water and they can be recycled in the power station. Natural gas fired power stations do not use the steam. The natural gas is burnt and the hot gases produced are used directly to turn the turbine. So this is what happens in a oil-based or coal-based power station. Here in the boiler, so the heat when the fossil fuels are burnt, lot of heat energy is produced. This heat energy is used to heat the water in the boiler and it is converted into steam. So here the steam used to turn the turbines and the electricity is generated by using the generator which is connected with the shafts of the turbine. So what are the ways the fossil fuel produce? Burning the fossil fuels creates waste products that acts as pollutants and harmful environmental effects. So first pollutant is carbon dioxide. This greenhouse gas is the main waste product of burning the fossil fuels. Then sulfur dioxide and nitric oxides. These gaseous pollutants contribute the formation of smog and acid rains. Next, the important waste is ash. This waste is solid and is disposed of in the landfill sites. Then what is nuclear fuel? Nuclear fuel is used to generate electricity, but unlike fossil fuels, it does not burn. In a nuclear fuel, such as uranium, reactions takes place that split the atoms and release huge amount of heat energy. This is called nuclear fission. When the atoms are split, large amount of energy is released. This is called fission process, nuclear fission process. In a nuclear power station, the heat released from the nuclear reaction is used to change water into steam. And in the other type of power stations, the steam then turns a turbine, which turns a generator and produces the electricity. The nuclear power stations will not release any greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide or nitric oxide gases, which causes the acid rain. This is the general schematic layout of a nuclear power station. Here, in the nuclear reactor, the nuclear fission process is taken place and the released energy, heat energy, is used to produce the steam in the boiler. Then the steam is used to rotate the turbine, and the generator which is connected with the turbine will produce the electricity. Then what are the wastes does the nuclear power produce? The nuclear power stations produce radioactive wastes. The used nuclear fuel contains some uranium, which can be separated from the waste and reused. It also contains plutonium, which is a highly radioactive product of the fission reactions. Now, reactors that use this waste product as a fuel that have been built. However, plutonium is also used in the construction of nuclear bombs and poses a very serious threat if it gets into wrong hands. Where the nuclear waste can be stored. Nuclear waste that cannot be reused poses serious problems. Highly radioactive waste can be turned into glass to help stabilize it and prevent leaks during the storage. One solution is to bury the waste deep underground. This must be in a geologically stable environment. That means there will not be a landslide or earthquake, etc. Another suggested solution is to dump the radioactive waste at the bottom of the sea. So, dealing with the nuclear waste is expensive, and any solution has to be long term. How quickly can electricity be produced? So, we can have a comparison of the type of fuel used and the startup time. When you use the natural gas, you can produce the electricity within 1 hour. When you use oil, you can get the electricity within 4 hours. When you use coal, you can get within 7 hours. When you use nuclear power, you may get within the 48 hours. So how long the non-renewable energy lasts? So natural gas may have up to 30 years. Scientists think that the natural gas reserves will only last another 25 to 30 years. The oil may last up to 75 years. Coal may be up to 300 years, already 100 years over. So it is very tough. And the nuclear power can last up to thousands of years. Even though the nuclear power will last thousands of years, there is still a limited supply, and so it will eventually run out. So the availability of the uranium, plutonium or thorium will eventually run out. This is why nuclear power is classed as a non-renewable energy resource. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of burning fossil fuels in the power stations to generate the electricity? The advantages of the fossil fuels are it can be easily transported. Then the cost of the fuel is less. Then the building a power station will be less. The startup time is less compared to nuclear station. The drawbacks of the fossil fuels are it may produce acid rain, it leads to greenhouse effect, then it is inefficient compared to nuclear energy. Then what are the advantages and drawbacks of the nuclear power? The advantages are it is cheaper to run once it is built. So the initial cost is more, but it is cheap when it is running. No sulfur dioxide emissions are there. No carbon dioxide emissions are there. And it is safe under normal conditions. Then small amount of fuel is used, so less transport is needed. The drawbacks of the nuclear power, it is expensive to build a nuclear power station, then it is non-renewable energy source. And it produces radioactive waste. So it is very expensive to decommission the nuclear station. And it links with cancer. When you are exposed to the radioactive environment, you may be affected by cancer. So there is a risk of disaster in case of any earthquake or some other natural disasters. Natural calamities may lead to a disaster. So here we are going to discuss some of the terms which are used in this session. First, acid rain. So rainwater that is more acidic than the normal due to the release of sulfur dioxide or nitrogen oxides. Then fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are the carbon-based fuels such as coal, oil and natural gases. Then generator. So generator is a device used in the power stations which converts kinetic energy into electrical energy. Then global warming. The increase in the temperature of the earth, which some scientists think is causing climate change. Next, greenhouse effect. The trapping of heat from the sun by certain gases in Earth atmosphere. Greenhouse gas. A gas such as carbon dioxide that can trap heat from the sun in the Earth's atmosphere. Thank you one and all.